Kyle. Another sunny, bright Monday morning after a long, cold weekend. Supposed to be in the mid-70s today. So, would have been nice to have a little bit of that when I was freezing my balls off this weekend on a Boy Scout campout. But, hey, what are you going to do, right? Had a pretty good weekend, fun time. Got to camp with my buddy Mikey and a troop of Boy Scouts. My son had a blast with his friends. Mikey's son had a good time. It was fun. Had a good time and took the drones, flew my Spark, more than I've probably ever flown my Spark since I've had it. Just in one day, everything kind of changed as soon as I flipped the sport mode switch on the controller and put that little sucker in sport mode. Holy crap, that thing is so fast. I'll post some video that I took. Might be hard to tell how fast it goes, but I mean, it goes in the mid to upper 30s, mid to upper 30 miles per hour, so 35 or above. And man, that thing is lightning fast. But that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing with it and flying it. Went through 6 batteries, so went through 3 and then recharged them and went through those 3 again. And man, what a great time. I really had fun. I need to get that thing out a lot this summer. Other than that, let's see. Something that's bugging me. You know, I'm having a tough time coming up with something, but I guess I would say, I guess I would say this. You know, my daughter is moving over to BSA. She's been in Girl Scouts for like 5 years. My wife was actually the leader, and she's moving on too. She's happy to be able to kind of get a break now on top of her 50-plus hour a week job. So my daughter is moving over to BSA. They allow girls now, and she's so excited. She went to her first event on Friday, had a great time, and then actually Saturday night, she had a lock-in for Girl Scouts. So she's doing both for the next, I don't know, 3 months. But then after that, she's going to be exclusively BSA. So I guess this is kind of something that bugs me. You know, got into a couple conversations with a few male leaders at the campout this weekend. And I guess what bothers me is some of the pushback on females joining BSA. And I guess, you know, this is what I would say, because, you know, it's funny because there was one particular gentleman that I talked to about it, and his big thing was, well, why allow them to have it if everything's going to be separate but equal? That's like segregation. I'm like, yeah, but so is having a Girl Scouts and a Boy Scouts is a segregation as well. Especially when you make most of the crafts, or make most of the projects in one of them crafts, and you make most of the projects in the other, you know, fun stuff like throwing axes and sharpening knives and lighting fires and fishing and shooting guns and hunting and camping and rappelling and zip lining and all that stuff. But then the other one, there's a bunch of crafts, and occasionally you camp. It kind of stinks because, you know, my daughter was in Girl Scouts and she wanted to camp all the time. And so my wife did everything she could to try and make it so that they could go camping. But none of the other girls or their parents wanted them to go camping. And so my daughter, a lot of times, she camped with older girls who camped a lot. But in BSA, man, she's going to camp every month. And she loves it. So I guess my question is, who gives a shit? If the kids are out there and they're learning good things and they're learning how to do different things, it's not. And that's the other thing this guy said. Well, I know it's all about equality and the Me Too movement. No, dude. That's not what it's about for my daughter. What it's about for my daughter is my daughter wants to do the same stuff that my son's been talking about for years. That's the stuff she wants to do. So why is she not able to do that? It's just, I guess, you know, we got deeper into the conversation, and one thing that I remarked was this. There's a lot of issues with a lot of things in a lot of different countries, and there's all kinds of issues all over the world. Nowhere is perfect. However, one of the dumbest things that the United States has going for it, well, there's a few, but one of them that I really find ridiculous, and I think this one actually could get to the root of a lot of problems, is sexuality. We are fucking freaked out about sexuality. Now, don't get me wrong, man. I don't want to watch a movie with my kids and watch a couple people screwing each other. I don't want to see that. I don't want to be in the room with my kids when that's being watched. But, if we're watching a horror movie and a boobie shows up, so what? We're already watching people being murdered. It's okay to watch people shoot people in the head and their head vaporizes to a pink mist. But boy, if there's a boobie, oh my God! I just don't understand that. The way that we treat sexuality and the human body and everything as though it's dirty, it's absurd. If we were more European, our kids would understand that it's a natural thing and there's a time and a place for everything and that you handle things accordingly. But instead, we treat it like, oh, this is so dirty and profane and foul and all that stuff, so that when things do finally start taking place and happening, they hide it from their parents, they hide it from other members of society, and bad things happen. So I said, if we were more of the mentality of Europeans and there was a better understanding, let's take a look. What are their abortion rates over there in Europe? I would imagine besides Eastern Europe, probably pretty low, right? I mean, and what are their mass shooting rates over there? Yeah, I think they're pretty low also, aren't they? I honestly think the way that we treat sexuality and the way that we treat nudity and stuff is just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not saying, dude, I want to walk down the street naked. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just saying we're just kind of silly about it, and we're really hung up on it, but we're totally cool with showing a bullet go into a body and go through all the tissue and everything and, kill somebody on CSI shows and stuff like that. But if we see part of a breast or a butt, oh my God! So much so to the point that breastfeeding is a big problem. And again, don't get me wrong, man. I don't want to be sitting having dinner and someone at the table pulls their boob out and starts feeding their kid without any sort of covering or some sort of modesty. I get that. I get, being couth about it. But at the same time, it's a very natural thing, and it's actually beautiful that a mother can feed her children. And we're so dumb about those things. And I honestly think it leads to a lot of other problems. And it leads to that mentality that's so stupid about girls joining Boy Scouts. It's not going to end up like Starship Troopers where the boys and the girls are showering in the same thing and all that. But at the same time, there's a time and a place for everything. And the more that we teach our kids up to a certain level, some things they're going to have to figure out for themselves. But the more that we teach them, the better prepared they'll be for life. And the more likely they are to avoid a lot of dumb mistakes. Instead, hiding this as though it's some sacred, dirty thing that, then all you're gonna do is incite kids to want to be involved in that and want to see that and want to experience that. Now, they're going to want to anyway because it's hormones and testosterone, everything flying at the same time. Puberty's something else. But, I don't know. Just keeping it secretive and all that stuff is it's not a good idea. Okay, so that's what's bugging me right now. And here's the thing. My daughter is going to join Boy Scouts. She'll probably be a better scout than your son. I guarantee she can whoop his ass swimming. She'll probably be able to whoop his ass fighting. So, fuck off. Kindly. Thank you. It's just so ridiculous. I did have one person that's within the Boy Scout organization, or in the BSA organization. I got to start saying that. But I did have one fella that said that one thing that they're worried about is once the females get in there, they will rank advance way faster than the males. And I don't disagree. I think they will. I think my son has a pretty good head start on my daughter, but I don't know, man. She's something else, and she is a driven individual. So we'll see. It doesn't really matter as long as they're both happy and they're having a good time, because essentially that's what it's about: learning how to do things, learning how to handle situations, and becoming responsible and growing up. So it doesn't really matter who ranks who, when, or anything like that. It's kind of silly. Okay, things I'm into right now. Well, I haven't watched the third Twilight Zone yet, but I did watch the first 2 episodes, and they're pretty good. I did watch this first one twice, The Comedian. I watched it a second time, and I liked it a lot better the second time than I did the first. There is some solid acting in there, and the whole idea of the story is actually pretty cool. The other episode, the remake of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, is called Nightmare at 30,000 Feet now. I like the idea of the way it was approached, as far as a little bit different, what's spooking the guy out and all that stuff, and I like that. What I did not like was the very ending of it. They kind of sew it up in a real weird way, and it just is kind of dumb. But up until that point, it actually was pretty good. But I'm really looking forward to seeing some new stories and some new ideas and see what they do with that. That will be interesting. And I believe episode 3 was a new story. I don't think it's a redo. So I'll be curious to see that. I know the hottest thing out there right now would happen to be the episode 9 trailer. Wow. I mean, I'm pretty excited to see that, man. I mean, that movie looks pretty flippin' amazing. And I'll be curious to see how they tie things up with Ray and Finn and Poe and the whole gang, and see what goes on. The one thing that I really liked a lot, other than Billy D. Williams, which was great, and Ray's acrobatic move on the, I believe that it's Kylo Ren's TIE fighter. Other than those things, the other thing that I really saw that I really dug seeing a lot, man, C-3PO's in there a lot, it looks like. And I'm excited to see that again, because that was kind of the thing with the original films, was R2-D2 and C-3PO were in all of them, and they played an important part. So I'm hoping that's going to be a big deal in there. The other thing I saw was, and it looked like it was shot from a balcony with a phone, but a quick sneak peek that they showed at Star Wars Celebration, quick sneak peek of The Mandalorian, which when Disney Plus releases this fall, will be available to watch at that time. But man, that looks amazing. If you haven't seen the stuff that they're going to be doing in that show, holy cow, it's exciting. I'm very interested in it. There's really nobody better than Jon Favreau to helm something like that. So, he gave birth to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and now the first ever live action Star Wars television show, he's given birth to that, and it looks incredible. I cannot wait to see that show. So I think there's going to be a lot of good things on the Disney Plus network, other than the mass amounts of movies and properties that they own. Just in general, I think they're going to have a lot of good original programming. They're really going to give some of these other streaming platforms a run for their money. So I'm curious to see that as well. Other than that, the new Anderson Paak album. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name or not. It's Anderson Paak. Anyway, his new album, holy crap. Absolutely amazing. I didn't even know who this guy was 3 months ago. And I started kind of listening to him right before we went on the dad's fishing trip. And I loved his album from last year, Oxnard, from 2018. And it has a song on it called Tints that he does with Kendrick Lamar. And man, I love that tune about having your windows tinted. But it's a cool tune. And I really liked it. And then I started hearing these singles coming out every week on Spotify. And I'm like, oh man, Anderson Paak has a new album coming. And it came out Friday. Luckily, my buddy, probably Mo, told me that album had come out Friday. So I checked it out, and man, that is a solid record. Give that thing a shot. I'll put a link to it in the notes here. But that's about what I'm into, guys. Really not much else different. I mean, Mikey and I had a good time. hanging out in the tent, and we watched some Bigfoot movies. He's definitely into Bigfoot, and I mean, I like those movies too. And we watched some oldies, man. I think it was called something like the Yeti, the Abominable Snowman. That's what it was. And Peter Cushing was in it. It was pretty old, maybe from the early 50s. We watched that one, and then we watched another one called Bigfoot. I think it was straight up from 1970, and it was pretty horrible. We didn't even finish that one. But then I had also brought one of my personal favorite Bigfoot movies, which is The Legend of Boggy Creek. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it was a big one for me when I was growing up, and it's kind of like a documentary with reenactments of interactions with this creature that lives near this creek. It's kind of swampy lands in Arkansas, near Fouke, Arkansas, Fouke, Arkansas. And these different scenarios that have come up with this monster and people's interactions with them. And when I saw that as a kid, it just really stuck with me, and it freaked me out. And we watched it again, but what I remember about it the most was and actually there's multiple songs, but there was one song where the guy's singing about nature and singing about the monster, and it is so batshit cheesy and crazy that, but we got a good laugh out of that happening. And that was before the giant windstorm came down on us Saturday night and drove a giant canopy thing that we put up at the campouts, picked that thing up, threw it into the front fender of Mikey's car and dented it, and then threw that thing, boy, I don't know, I would say 150, 200 feet, maybe further from where it was. And that's a big, heavy thing, man. I mean, it's hundreds of pounds, that canopy. So that was some pretty strong wind we had going. I know I woke up and my head was on one side of the tent, my feet were on the other on my cot, and I know I woke up several times, and the part of the tent that was where my feet was literally 5 or 6 inches from my face, just flapping. And Mike had the same thing happen, and we both, throughout the night, just put our feet up to kick the pole back in shape. So the winds were that strong. I want to say definitely in excess of 50 miles an hour. So it was a pretty big windstorm going through there, but no rain. Nobody got hurt really, so we're lucky. We're lucky our tent wasn't where that car was, because if that pole would have come down on one of us, boy, that would have been bad news. But it didn't. We made it. We had fun. It was a good event. Everybody got through it. I got zero sleep, but I did make up on Sunday a little bit for it when I got home. And now Monday night and Tuesday night I'll pay the piper, because I'll have to be out there mowing. So, before my daughter's strings concert tonight on Monday night. But that's about it, guys. I mean, really not much else going on. Just living life and enjoying all the new Star Wars stuff that I'm seeing crop up. I'm really excited about the future of stuff going on there. And that's about it. Still working on getting stuff together for the studio. Haven't really done much, but I'm working on it. It's going to happen. So that's about it. I was contacted. Oh, one more thing. I was contacted by a Chinese manufacturer. They do a lot of phones. As a matter of fact, my son's phone is made by them, but it's called UMIDIGI, UMIDIGI. And I was contacted by them. They want me to review a watch of theirs. So it's starting to happen. I'm starting to get review requests and stuff like that. And so I'm going to be doing a little bit of that in addition to the normal podcast. So expect to see things like that as well. And then the other thing was the 4K action camera that I bought, made by Cooau, Cooau. I think they're an Australian company. It's made in China, but the AU at the end, I believe, is for Australia. Bought a 4K action camera from them. Really great little camera. Actually takes external mics, believe it or not. There's not a lot of cameras that do that in that realm. But I bought one of those. I loved it. They asked me if I would write a nice review and they would send me a gift. And I said, okay. So I went ahead and did that. And next thing I know, they send me a 1080p action camera. Same exact camera that I have, but just 1080p. So I'm going to give that to my boy, because he and his friend are starting that that's a YouTube channel. So I'm going to give it to them, and that'll help them get some other things started. He's buying a capture card as well, because a lot of their stuff is gaming focused, which is great. But want to make sure we get a good looking image on that. But that's about it, man. Not much else going on, guys. I appreciate you listening. If you got any questions or you want to talk about anything, be sure and let me know, and we can discuss it. But as for now, just like normal, go ahead and please stay off my lawn.